everybody. Questions for Coach? We'll start with Justin.
So safeties are obviously, it's a position group that you're looking to replace with, Dalton and Genesis being on. How's that going so far? What do you think about the rotation of guys that you're putting out there?
It's been fun. I've been super excited for this time, and it's been a revolving door, just trying to mix and match guys. I mean, when you're out there, you'll see different guys at different positions. Lee, playing in the middle, playing outside, Matai, first group, Chopper, first group. It's just trying to figure out, that camaraderie, that fit, and who's comfortable together. And then, who makes plays when they're in there.
Do you feel like this rotation could be a thing that carries over into the season?
Somewhat, and it's those guys that continue to prove that, right? Because on a daily basis, they're building trust with their peers in there and being comfortable, and they're building trust with me. Can I trust them to not have mental errors and do all the little things that Coach G and the defense asks? So I think we have an opportunity to rotate some guys. Guys just got to keep proving that throughout fall camp.
Chris and then Michael.
Matai is somebody who's making the transition from linebacker into the secondary. Just what's that process been like for him, and where have you seen him grow the most since this journey started?
The good part for Matai is he played some DB in high school, so he has some familiarity of, what it looks like, how it looks. I think, the safety piece is just more intricate in the coverages and what to do, matchups, all that stuff. He has a natural box feel, running the alley. He's physical from his linebacker days. So that shows up in practice all the time. Now it's just being comfortable, reading the quarterback in the post or motion adjustments, stuff like that, where it's a little bit different in the box than in the back end, and he's done a good job picking it up.
Michael and then David.
What's the backstory with Quinn Olson? Like, how did he end up at Arizona, and how is he progressing?
Quinn, in my opinion, could be the next Traden Stukes story at Arizona in terms of a walk-on turning into a really good player. He's really developed since he's been here. From Iowa, he had some opportunities to walk on. His sister went here. I believe she was on the cheer squad. And so he had that family environment here already, so he wanted to go to school with his sister. And he's really put in the work. I mean, he's one of the strongest guys on the team, one of the fastest guys on the team. He's got really good feel. If you saw the play yesterday in the stadium, it's one of the more impressive interceptions I've seen in my career. So much so that Noah's like, whoa, he came up to me and Quinn like, that was crazy. And it was a heck of a play. So he's really done a great job developing and progressing. And he's in that mix too. And it doesn't matter where you're from, who you are, how many stars, walk on, not, the best players are going to play, and those guys that, that make plays. Because it's one thing to know to scheme and be in the right spots, but at the end of the day, you got to make plays too. If you're in the right spot and guys are catching the ball over you, that's not a good enough deal. But if you're making plays like Quinn has shown through spring and camp, he's got an opportunity.
David and Jason.
Brett, when you're in a situation now where you've got a lot of guys competing for roles, what are the key separators for you to determine the guys that will rise to the top?
It's the mental side of the game. Those guys, we have some good athletes, but it's the communication piece. It's knowing situations, knowing matchups, how our offense is going to attack you, because all those little things, you call a coverage or a scheme, but all those can differentiate the coverage you're playing just a little bit, right? Being more aggressive on certain things or not. So I think, and then motion adjustments. Guys are comfortable. That the big three from last year, they were so comfortable with one another. Sometimes, they would just look at each other and they knew what was happening, right? So now trying to build that with this group, who can gel like that? Who's most comfortable with one another? And that's the challenge.
Jason and then Justin.
How has Lee Millette progressed from the spring, and what's kind of the next step for him?
Lee's done a great job. He's a guy because he's played in this defense, a similar defense, so he's a Swiss Army knife. He knows all the positions, so that's a comforting thing for me, and it gives him more opportunity to get on the field. The more you can do, the more opportunities you're going to have. He's really shown and taken steps forward this fall camp, making plays, being in the right spot, showing up in the run game. He's there's no such thing as over-communicating, but you see him barking out and directing traffic, and those things build confidence with me, and they build confidence with his teammates as well.
Justin and then Lindsay.
We know that he's limited in training camp, but when he gets back on the field, Dalen Austin, what's the scouting report on him? What is he going to bring?
He's going to bring short area quickness, great coverability. He's a smart football player. We're getting him in as much as we can and walk through situations and stuff, and he's picking it up, doing a great job. But if you see, you go back and watch his film from last year, I mean, he's matching up on guys in man coverage. I think he's going to be a Malcolm Hartzog-esque, if you say, where he's a really good, cover guy, but can be physical in the box too. So I have high expectations. It's hard for somebody sitting out. He wants to get back, getting him as much reps and walkthroughs and extra film studies. So then when the time does come, he can hit the ground running. The competition in the room is super fun because it's just so fluid. There's so many really good athletes and good players. It elevates everybody.
I don't know how much you watched of it yesterday, but as a coach, what is it like to see guys that you coached have their NFL debuts like Stooks and Johnson?
Man, it was unbelievable. So, there's a sliding scale. You either go meet or dinner, meet, you could vice versa. So we had meetings so we could all go to dinner and watch it together. And, before team meetings. So I had probably like 45 minutes. I watched the second series. I watched the first punt when Dalton got the tackle. Stooks was running down on it too. It was just so cool. It was heartwarming for me. I was so proud of those guys. And then just to see the reaction of all their teammates. Everybody's cheering when they're making the plays. After that punt, the Raiders were on defense. Stooks makes a big tackle. Everybody's in there going crazy. It's really cool. It's cool for me and it's cool for the guys, man. It's cool to just see how tight everybody is and how they root for one another.
Lindsay in the back and then Chris.
You mentioned just the chemistry that the big three had last year. What's the dynamic now with so many new faces and you're relearning everyone now?
It's hard, but those guys have done a really good job. We got I think the great thing is we've got a bunch of good people, and we're always trying to find great athletes and good players, but also good people that fit this place, and I think we did a good job identifying that. So as competitive as it is, they're constantly picking up one another, helping each other, coaching each other on the sideline. So that's refreshing. That's what you want. That's a healthy competition. There's competitive and there's combative, and we definitely don't have a combative room. So, kudos to the guys, pushing one another, holding each other accountable, but not demeaning anybody and being able to, we always talk about being a great teammate and being someone's biggest supporter, and those guys have done a great job of that.
Chris and then David.
Kind of piggybacking off of that question, we hear, whether it's from you and the other position coaches, from the players, that Danny G's scheme is kind of unlike a lot of other schemes. And so with all that newness, just how are you seeing them kind of work through the scheme, understand it, process it, all that kind of stuff?
It takes time. They're doing a good job picking it up, and there's Chapa missed all spring, right? So you mentioned Dalen earlier. So, guys, when they're first getting in, there's so many little nuances and intricacies to it. So picking up all that, it's not just like, hey, go play man coverage, right? Like there's so much to it. So there's some growing pains through that, and that's okay. That's what I tell those guys. You're going to make mistakes. There's going to be some growing pains. As long as we're going 100 miles an hour, we can correct and coach off those growing pains. But they've done a really good job picking up the scheme, and I'm excited to see these next 2 weeks how they continue to progress.
David and then Justin.
Brett, Jonah Price came in more as a cornerback, but has really kind of gravitated to the safety position. Why is that maybe a better fit for his skill set?
Jono is, he's a super smart football player. He can play corner still. He knows the corner position. He came in and has done a really good job in the safety room. He's a guy that can play all five because he's smart. He was a physical corner. So we thought, let's see what he looks like in the box. Can he pick it up? Can he, be physical enough? Just to add more depth and more competition. We know he can always go back outside the corner. He knows that. He's been, in this system for a couple years at that. So it's just kind of building a guy with a Swiss Army knife that can get you out of any bad situations. If we have injuries at certain spots, he's a plug-and-play guy at different areas. So he's a luxury for coaches because of how smart he is.
The last two will be Justin and then Nathaniel.
I have two questions. As far as Dejon Hinton, how's his progress going? And considering being his first start, going through that injury, what's just been kind of the messaging to him as he looks to overcome this?
I'm so proud of Dejon and his his growth and his process. I mean, he's ahead of schedule when it comes to his recovery. I really hope for that kid. He's such a humble young man, hardworking young man. He's a great guy, and he will be an unbelievable story when he comes back from all these injuries, because I truly believe he can be a really good player here. We just got to keep him healthy, and Geronimo and Coach Carroll and that staff, they've done a great job, and he's done a great job. He knows how to attack this rehab process because he's gone through it before. So he's burning through that. He's ahead of schedule. And even though he's doing that, he doesn't lax when it comes to the classroom piece of football. He's still asking questions. He's engaged, always coming up for extra meetings. And that's why last year he was able to plug and play when he came off his high school injury. As a true freshman coming in and playing on multiple special teams, he played at corner, then he played inside and replaced Stukes in the bowl game. Asking a true freshman to do that is impressive, And so I have no doubt when he is fully cleared that, he's going to be giving guys a run for their money that have been practicing all camp, because of how hard he works in the classroom.
And then can you talk about the recruitment of Hannibal Navies and how you were able to get him here, and what's your early impressions of him?
Hannibal, he's a big physical athlete, son of an NFL football player. His dad played in the NFL, played at Colorado. He was once committed to Kansas State. He was a big, long athlete, had great track times. We built a great relationship, and we stayed in touch. I was able to go out and catch a game his senior year and go watch him, and he came and visited us. And, I think that relationship and feeling like he could develop here, he could grow here, and feeling the environment that Coach B and everyone builds here, I think it was a good choice for him if you ask him. And I'm happy with his growth process. I got super high expectations for him too, because he's such a big, long athlete. He's one of the strongest guys in the weight room as a true freshman. I mean, he came in here power cleaning and squatting a house. So, he's got a high ceiling.
We'll finish up with Nathaniel.
Yeah, on day one, I believe it was Trey Smith who mentioned pressure and coverage kind of going hand in hand. When one guy does their job, or group, does their job, the other can flourish. Just kind of your comments on whether or not you agree, your comments on that, and your overall confidence in your group to perform at the same high level as like last year, despite maybe a high turnover or anything like that.
Pass rush is a DB's best friend. So I tell those guys all the time, man, anytime you got a chance to take those guys out to eat, man, it's like the quarterback and an O-line. If we don't got to cover very long, it's going to make our jobs a lot easier. So I agree with Trey, and I think we have a great defensive line. I mean, they've been putting pressure on what I believe is a really good O-line with Coach Oglesby and his guys. So seeing what they're doing day in and day out, it's refreshing and reassuring as a DB coach with a bunch of new faces, with those guys getting to the quarterback. And I tell those guys all the time, right now we can't hit the quarterback, but when those guys in game are starting to get after them and they get a little happy feet, the game changes a little bit. So that's going to be to our advantage where it might not be in practice right now. That's the challenge. I think the great part about those guys is they set the bar for the room. And all those guys have dreams and aspirations of doing what those guys did, right? Having great college careers and having an opportunity to play at the next level. So to do that, they have great role models to look up to. So us watching them as a group and seeing those guys shine in that environment, and then, being able to hold them to that standard. They're constantly chasing that standard. They're doing a good job. We still have a lot of room for growth. We're not nowhere near where we need to be, but all you can do is get one day better, and keep stacking days, little ways. 1% better each day turns into great things. So that's what we're just trying to do.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Brett.
Thanks, Brett.
Appreciate it. Hannibal, a little Genesis-esque.
Yeah.
When I first saw him, I was like, he looks like Genesis.
He does, yeah. A lot of people with the hair coming out. He's a big physical guy.
Yeah.
I will say,
Justin, and then Chris.
For Cam, you had some options to go to other schools. You chose Arizona. Why was this the right place for you?
Really just when I came on my visit here, it just felt like a family. It felt like home right away. As soon as I stepped on the facility, my parents, my younger brother, he wanted to even come with me, live here with me, but they loved it. So yeah, it just felt like home as soon as I stepped on campus. So.
How do you look back on the last couple of years playing in Northern Colorado and how it allowed you to get to a point where you could transfer to a Power 4 school?
Yeah, definitely. It helped me grow a lot. Just the process and trusting in it. Really, the coaches there just helped me a lot. And then I just thought I had a great opportunity to chase something big, so I took it.
Chris and then David.
From Matai, you obviously began your career in college as a linebacker. Just what was that conversation like, switching positions, and how's that adjustment been for you so far?
So when I got here, Coach G pulled me aside and after seeing me run a little bit, doing team drills and stuff like that, he just asked how I felt about it. And honestly, with my background coming from high school, I was a safety all the way into my senior year. So it really felt natural. It's been natural. Really, the hardest thing for me so far has just been getting back mentally. It's a lot to process, putting people where they need to be and stuff like that, along with my assignment as well. So that's really the biggest thing that I'm adjusting to, playing safety, but it's been smooth so far.
You're saying that the mental piece of it, that's the biggest kind of difference between those two positions, or anything else where you're like, oh, this is just different than it was a year ago?
Yeah, for sure. Just because athletically, I think making this transition wasn't nothing crazy for me. I felt like I could do all that, but it was really just the mental game, the playing off the quarterback and just things like that. It's definitely a different feel than being in the box, so something you got to get used to.
David and then Justin.
Matai, first, could you pronounce your last name for us so we have that?
Yeah, sir. Tunguai. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
For you, yesterday there was Coach Brennan and Coach Gonzalez kind of pulled you aside. You got a little exuberant there in the team. What did you take away from what they were trying to teach you in that moment?
Just being smarter in practice. I kind of get carried away when we get pads on and stuff like that. I'm trying to, go out there and kill somebody, but just being smarter and protecting our brothers and stuff like that. It was just he fell to the ground after I thudded him up a little bit, and that could have been an injury when he's running around. So just keeping our teammates protected and stuff like that.
What for you? Why was this a better situation for you than what you had at USC?
Just like Cam said, the coaching staff. I took this was actually my last visit here, and from the moment I stepped on campus, it was all about what I was doing, what I needed to grow on, and what I needed to really just focus on to be a better player and person. And that's what they were preaching to me since the moment I stepped on campus, so I knew that this was a place that was going to allow me to grow.
Justin and Michael.
Question for both of you guys. Brett Arce was talking about how it's kind of been a revolving door at safeties. A lot of guys are getting reps. How's it been like for you just to be part of this rotation and just talk about the depth that you guys have in the safety room?
Yeah, so we got a lot of depth in the room, and we just push each other every single day, no matter who it is. We learn from one of each other every single day. So, yeah, it's just been great. It's been a blessing.
Yeah, like Chop said, I think the depth really turns up the competitive edge in all of us. Just watching the tape after every practice and seeing that we're in a battle with dang near, 2 other people in a position and in multiple spots, it just makes you want to, put your game to the top level and just kind of elevate yourself as your own player, and just having those moments where you could learn off others' reps, like me watching Chop at the Bear and Chop watching me, is just something that we could benefit off of.
Another question for both. Have you guys watched any of the film from last year, like Genesis and Dalton and the guys that, you guys are succeeding?
Yeah, definitely. They're all 3 of them in the league, so they're doing great stuff here. Just trying to follow in their path, really. Best secondary in the country, so really just coming in. I think all of us just want to keep that going and just, yeah.
Nah, yeah, we definitely seen seen their tape, and it's all teach tape. So we definitely be getting educated on different techniques and stuff like that from Coach Arce, because he definitely is trying to preach to us that that's what it looks like to get to that to the next level. So we watch their stuff down there every day. Excuse me, but yeah.
Michael and Chris.
Two questions for both of you. The first one, Danny Gonzalez asks a lot of his safeties. It seems like sometimes run plays are funneled to the safeties. What are the challenges of executing your assignments and carrying out your responsibilities in this scheme?
Really just the communication part, the eye control. It's a lot back there, the eye control, but yeah, just he expects a lot from us just so we can make the plays, and yeah.
Yeah, eye control and like Chop was saying, but pre-snap alerts and stuff like that it's a lot. It's dang near everything. Pre-snap alerts to motions where you like Chop was saying, eye control, and his defense puts us in a spot where it's going to be very, very easy to make plays just because the ball gets out really fast with Coach G's defense, and so he understands that. So he knows where we're supposed to be at before plays happen, and he's watching us and us trying to progress and do our reads and stuff like that. So really just pre-snap alerts and just stuff like that.
And the other question is, what did you guys think of Quinn Olson's interception yesterday, and what was like the chatter in the room about that?
Yeah, we watched the play about like 3 times in film. Watched it this morning as well. But yeah, it was a great play. I've never seen something like that. So it's just, yeah, it's great to see because we got a lot of depth in the room. So yeah.
Yeah, I ain't really never seen nothing like that yet. He kind of just loaded up and waited for him to throw it and springed up. That was crazy. But yeah, we watched about 10 times, like Chop was saying. So it was definitely
Chris and Nicole.
For Cam, you were a number of the players in the secondary were banged up this season, but how do you use that time just to understand Danny G's scheme, which we consistently hear is complex, and just build chemistry with so many new faces in the room?
Really just getting out there, putting myself out there, making the connections with the guys, watching extra film, doing the little stuff every single day, just trying to get 1% better, meetings with Coach Arce, just little stuff every single day.
Cole in the back, and then David.
Was there an adjustment period just getting to know the room coming in with, 5 or 6 new faces, and how helpful is it, I guess, that you're all experiencing this for the first time rather than, 1 or 2 guys just learning?
Yeah, it's definitely been helpful having these new faces just because when we're in the process of learning everything, Arce been preaching to us about versatility and being able to play all 3 spots, so he's being able to just teach us all 3 spots as one. And like me and Chop was talking about earlier, just watching others have their reps and just, getting mental reps on the sideline, it's just been, it's beneficial for me specific. Like, I could say that personally just because I'm watching everybody and getting to not only get the reps that I get on the field, but the mental reps that everybody else is getting as well.
Our last 2 will be David and Justin.
Cam, for you, just when Danny was recruiting you and since you've gotten here, what's he told you about the importance of takeaways and how this defense was able to make that jump last year and get it so late?
It's important because takeaways win you the game. The big boys up front are going to do what they do, and just making the plays in the back end and being someone you can trust in the back end, making the plays is just helpful a lot.
And one more from Matai. Your pen tweet on your Twitter account is about your 2 younger sisters. Tell us a little bit about them and what they mean to you.
Yeah, I got 2 little sisters. One's named Kiyomi, one's named Melrose. I'm the older brother, so really just the biggest thing that's been for me since I got to college really was just trying to do that, just to be in a position where I could provide for them. And so dang near every time I step in this building, it's always the thought of them in the back of my head just driving me.
We'll finish up with Justin.
Cam, what was it like growing up in Aurora, Colorado?
Oh, it was awesome. I loved it. Kind of knew everyone around you. Met my childhood best friend there. Been playing football with him since I was 4 years old. But yeah, it was great in Aurora. I loved it. I love it.
Broncos fan?
I did, yeah.
Okay.
Big Broncos fan. I think we're going to win the Super Bowl this year.
Okay. And then you played at the FCS level for a couple of years. It seems like the gap is getting shorter between FBS and FCS. What was it like just being a part of that competition? What kind of guys are at that level?
It's really the same competition. Really just the speed of the game is really different, but every player is just as good and stuff like that. So it really prepared me for this big step.
Awesome. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, fellas. Nice to meet you.
Appreciate y'all.
Thank you guys. Have a good one.